There are stories about grand victories, and there are stories about quiet ones, victories that happen not on battlefields or in palaces, but inside a single human heart. This is one of those stories. It follows a boy named Elias, whose pride was larger than his effort, whose dreams were brighter than his discipline, and whose journey toward humility would change him in ways he never expected. Settle in, this is the quiet art of small beginnings. Elias believed he was meant for wealth. Not simply comfort or stability, but wealth, the kind that made others step aside, the kind that proved a person's worth. He felt it in his bones, as if some invisible mark had been placed on him at birth. He was 16, tall for his age, with a gaze that often drifted toward distant horizons. When he walked through the village, he carried himself with the air of someone who expected the world to recognize his potential, but the world, as it often does, remained unimpressed. His mother would ask him to sweep the floor, and he would sigh as though she had asked him to move a mountain. His uncle would ask him to help repair a fence, and Elias would mutter that such tasks were for those without ambition. He wanted to be wealthy, yes, but he wanted to begin at the top, not at the bottom, and so, most days, he did very little at all. The path beyond the village wound through quiet fields. Elias liked it there. No one asked him to do chores or questioned his ambition. He could imagine himself as someone important, someone destined for more. He stopped near a small stream and sat on a rock. The water moved steadily, unbothered by obstacles. He envied it, thinking again. Elias turned. It was Tomas, a boy his age, carrying a bundle of reeds on his shoulder. Thinking is free, Elias said, so is working. Tomas replied with a grin. Elias frowned. Work is for those who have no greater purpose. Tomas raised an eyebrow. And what's your purpose? To be wealthy. By doing what? Elias hesitated. Something meaningful. Tomas laughed, not cruelly, but with genuine amusement. You want wealth, but you don't want to start anywhere. I don't want to waste time on small things. Small things build big things, Tomas said. My father says even a house begins with a single stone. Elias waved him off. Your father builds houses. I'm meant for more. Tomas shrugged. Maybe. But even more needs a beginning. Elias didn't answer. He watched Tomas walk away, reeds bouncing on his shoulder. He felt irritated, not at Tomas, but at the truth hidden in his words. That evening, Elias returned home to find his mother sitting by the doorway. The firewood pile was untouched. You forgot, she said. I didn't forget, he replied. I just didn't do it. She nodded slowly. Elias. Pride can lift a person, but it can also blind them. He crossed his arms. I'm not blind. Then look around, she said gently. What have you built? What have you started? He opened his mouth, then closed it. He had no answer. She stood and placed a hand on his shoulder. Wealth is not a crown given to the deserving. It is a path walked by the willing. He pulled away. You don't understand. Perhaps not, she said. But I understand this. If you cannot carry small tasks, you will never carry great ones. He went to bed angry, not at her, but at the uncomfortable truth pressing against his pride. The next morning, Elias woke early. Not out of discipline, but because he had overheard something the night before, his mother speaking with a neighbor. He has potential, she had said. But he refuses to begin. I worry he will grow older and still be waiting for life to start. The words stung. He didn't want to be someone others pitied, so he rose before dawn and walked to the village square. He didn't know what he was looking for, only that he needed to prove something, even if he didn't know what. At the well, he found old Maro, the village merchant, struggling to lift a crate onto his cart. Elias hesitated. Helping would be a small task. A simple task. The kind he avoided. But something inside him shifted. Do you need help? Elias asked. Morrow looked up, surprised. You. I thought you didn't trouble yourself with lifting. Elias flushed. I can help. Morrow stepped aside. Elias lifted the crate. It was heavier than he expected. His arms trembled, but he managed to place it on the cart. Morrow nodded. Thank you. Elias waited for more, for praise, for recognition, for something that proved he was on the path to greatness, but Morrow simply returned to his work. Elias walked away, confused. He had expected the world to change because he had done one small thing. It didn't. Over the next few days, Elias tried again. He helped Tomas carry reeds. He swept the floor without being asked. He even brought in the firewood, but each time, he felt a strange mixture of pride and resentment. He wanted to be acknowledged. He wanted someone to say, now you are on your way to wealth. But no one did. One afternoon, frustrated, he confronted his mother. I've been doing small tasks, he said. But nothing is changing. She looked at him with gentle eyes. What did you expect to change? My life, he said. My future. She smiled sadly. Elias. Small tasks do not change the world. They change the person. He stared at her, not understanding. You are not doing these things to earn wealth, she continued. You are doing them to learn how to carry responsibility. Wealth is not given to those who dream of it. It is given to those who can hold it. He felt something tighten in his chest. So I'm not ready. Not yet, she said. But you are beginning. A week later, a storm swept through the village. The wind tore at roofs, and rain flooded the paths. Elias watched from the doorway as the world blurred into gray. When the storm passed, the village emerged to assess the damage. Tomas's family home had been hit hardest. The roof had collapsed, and water had ruined their stored grain. Elias found Tomas standing in the wreckage, shoulders slumped. My father is injured, Tomas said quietly. We need to rebuild, but I don't know where to start. Elias looked around. The damage was overwhelming. Rebuilding would take days, weeks, even. A familiar voice whispered inside him, this is not your problem. This is too big. You are meant for more than this. But another voice, quieter, steadier, rose to meet it. Small things build big things. Elias took a breath. Tell me what to do. Tomas looked up, startled. You don't have to, I want to, Elias said, and he meant it. They worked until their hands blistered. Elias lifted beams, cleared debris, fetched tools, and followed Tomas's instructions without complaint. The work was exhausting, humbling, relentless, but something unexpected happened. For the first time, Elias felt capable. Not because he was doing something grand, but because he was doing something necessary. By the third day, half the roof was rebuilt. Tomas's father, recovering slowly, watched from a chair. You've done good work, he told Elias. Elias felt warmth spread through him, not pride, but something deeper. Word spread through the village. People began asking Elias for help, small tasks, simple tasks, tasks he once would have refused. He accepted them all, not because he wanted praise, not because he wanted wealth, but because he had begun to understand something his pride had never allowed. Greatness was not a crown, it was a posture, a willingness to begin where one stood. One evening, as he returned home covered in dust and sweat, his mother met him at the door. You look tired, she said. I am, he replied, but you look lighter. He smiled. Maybe I am. She touched his cheek. I'm proud of you. The words filled him with a quiet joy he had never felt before. Months passed. Elias continued helping where he could. He learned to mend fences, repair roofs, carry loads, and manage small trades. People trusted him. They sought him out. One day, old Morrow approached him. "I'm getting older," Morrow said. "I need someone to help manage my goods. Someone reliable." Elias blinked. "Me? You've earned the village's respect," Morrow said. "And mine." Elias felt a lump in his throat. "I don't know everything." "You know enough," Morrow replied. "And you know how to begin." Elias accepted. It was not wealth, not yet, but it was a path, a real one, built not on pride, but on humility. One evening, Elias sat by the stream where he once dreamed of greatness. The water still moved steadily, unbothered by obstacles. Tomas joined him, sitting on the grass. "You've changed," Tomas said. "Have I?" "Yes. You used to talk about wealth as if it were waiting for you. Now you work as if you're building it." Elias smiled. "Maybe I am." Tomas nudged him. "What changed?" Elias looked at the water. "I stopped waiting for life to start." "And now?" "Now," Elias said softly, "I start small." Elias's story reminds us that pride can make a person dream of mountains while refusing to climb a single step. But humility, quiet, steady, unglamorous humility, can turn even the smallest task into the beginning of something greater: wealth, success, purpose. They rarely arrive in grand moments, they arrive in the small ones, moments we often overlook. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who might need a reminder. Greatness begins with the willingness to begin.